All right, welcome in everyone. For today's explainer, I want you to consider yourself students because we are embarking on a massive historical and spiritual journey. What we've put together here is essentially a master class. We are going to completely demystify the prophetic biography, which is commonly known as the Sirah. Now, whether you've grown up hearing these stories or you are literally just starting to wrap your head around why this is so important, this is built to be your ultimate study guide. We're going to break down the timelines, the methodology, and some really profound psychological insights from our source material into focused, bite-sized takeaways. So grab those mental notebooks and let's dive right in. To really grasp why this subject matters, we actually need to look at human nature for a second. Think about it. Why do we so often catch ourselves imitating actors or, fictional characters? Our source material points out how easily people mimic these larger-than-life movie personas. Characters like Robin Hood Pandey or Vijay Dinanath Chauhan. You watch these guys on screen and suddenly you're strutting around trying to walk like them or dropping your voice to sound all tough. Why? Because we are naturally wired to imitate. We want to copy the people who inspire us. And the core argument here is that God totally knows this psychological need we have for a perfect role model. So instead of leaving us to idolize made-up characters, we were given the ultimate real-world example to actually emulate. Okay, here's our syllabus for today. We're looking at 5 key areas. What is Sirah? Why study it? Sirah and personal growth, the right way to read it, and finally, the historical compilation. Starting with Section 1, what exactly is Sirah? Let's demystify this. So technically speaking, the word Sirah comes from the Arabic root word sera, which translates to journey. That is a crucial vocabulary term for our study guide today. Studying the Sirah is absolutely not about the stressful rote memorization of dry dates or random geographical locations. It's really meant to be a stress-free subject. It is quite literally the complete journey of the Prophet Muhammad's life. And, like any epic journey, there are very specific stops along the way. What's super fascinating is how this journey breaks down into 3 distinct categories in the literature. First up, you have Shama'il, and this covers his character and appearance. We're talking about how he walked, how he smiled, even how he expressed anger. Second is Maghazi, which covers the battles and expeditions that really shaped the early spread of Islam. And third, we have Awal, which translates to his conditions. This means understanding his physical, social, and emotional states. For example, our sources mention the incredible, poignant detail of the Prophet actually tying stones to his stomach just to suppress the intense pain of starvation. It's really about capturing that complete, raw human experience. Moving on to Section 2, why study it? What are our core objectives here? The primary reason is that scholars classify this knowledge as fard al-ayn. That means it's an individual obligation for every single person. It's a strict condition for completing your faith. And the logic makes total sense, right? Because you simply cannot truly follow or love someone if you don't actually know them. Think about a really deep romantic love. A lover desperately wants to know every little detail about their partner. What's their favorite color? Do they like pink flowers or yellow ones? If millions of people post online saying they love the Prophet, but they literally know nothing about his day-to-day life, well, that love is kind of incomplete. Real knowledge is what breeds genuine love. On top of that, there are over 50 verses in the Quran that explicitly command believers to follow the Prophet as the absolute standard. And here's a really fascinating point from our source material. The Quran is a non-linear book. It jumps around. One minute it's speaking in broad, general terms, and the next it's laser-focused on a highly specific, unseen event, like the Battle of Badr. If you don't know the timeline of the Sirah, those sudden shifts can be incredibly confusing. The Sirah provides the essential historical context you need to actually understand the Quran properly. Section 3, Sirah and personal growth, how this transforms your life. This brings up a really common historical question, and it's a brilliant one. Why didn't God just send an angel as a prophet? I mean, an angel literally flying down from the sky would convince people instantly, right? But think about it. If an angel were the example, we humans would immediately say, well, yeah, of course they're perfect. They're an angel. I can't possibly emulate that. I'm just a guy. By sending a human being, God provided a living, breathing, and fundamentally relatable example of excellence. And because he was human, studying his life offers real-world, highly practical applications for all of us today. You study the Sirah to learn how to be a better father, a more loyal friend, a devoted son, a just leader, or just a kinder neighbor. But beyond that, the Sirah acts as incredible emotional support. When you're at your absolute lowest, facing one of those moments where life just feels way too heavy, reading about the massive hardships the Prophet faced and how he never wished ill on people and just kept his trust in God, it provides this profound sense of optimism. It truly has the power to heal a broken heart. Section 4, the right way to read. Let's talk about the proper etiquette. Okay, so this isn't just casual, skimming on the subway kind of reading. It requires a very specific mindset. The source highlights the beautiful method of the great scholar Imam Malik. Before teaching or reading the seerah, he would actually perform wudu, the ritual purification. He'd put on perfume, specifically noting that the Prophet deeply loved good scents, and his companions always knew he was coming just by the fragrance in the air. Finally, Imam Malik would create a totally peaceful, distraction-free environment. So, when you set aside your 15 or 20 minutes a day to read, let this be a reminder to elevate your space. Put the phone in another room, focus completely, and treat the time with real reverence. Section 5. Historical compilation. Let's dig into the academic rigor behind all this. Let's map out this historical timeline. After the Prophet's passing, the religion expanded like wildfire across these massive empires. We're talking Egypt, Africa, Persia. Now, fast forward about 130 to 140 years later, a historian named Ibn Ishaq realized that this huge, diverse population desperately needed a unified historical record. So he took on this monumental task. He actually tracked down the grandchildren and great-grandchildren of the Prophet's companions. He gathered their oral accounts, cross-verified multiple narrations, and successfully compiled the very first chronological biodata of the Prophet's life. Now, the crucial thing to understand here is the intense academic rigor that followed. See, Ibn Ishaq was a brilliant historian, for sure, but he wasn't a strict hadith specialist, meaning he did include some weak narrations in his timeline. Recognizing this, his student Ibn Hisham took the work and rigorously refined it. Ibn Hisham filtered out the weak accounts, verified the facts, and produced this masterfully condensed 3-volume set. It was so rock solid that it became universally accepted by scholars worldwide. And a quick but important side note from our source. Because these are historical texts rather than strict legal manuals, we use the Sira to extract character lessons and soften our hearts, not to derive binding legal fiqh rulings. Over the centuries, as our attention spans have kind of shrunk, those massive volumes were summarized into the highly actionable reading list we have today. If you want to dive in, our source material highly recommends starting with Ar-Rahiq al-Maktoum. If you're looking for an incredible English read, Muhammad by Martin Lings is widely considered one of the absolute best. But because tackling historical texts on your own can take years and you often miss the context, it's super highly recommended to listen to lectures by scholars like Dr. Yasser Qadhi or Sheikh Hamza Yusuf to guide you along. And honestly, the best part, these books are everywhere online as free PDFs. You don't need to be intimidated at all. Just pull up 10 to 15 pages and start right there. Well, that brings us to the end of our masterclass. And I'm going to leave you with one final exam question. Are you ready to begin your own journey? We've seen today how studying the seerah is so much more than just some academic history lesson. It is a profound psychological and spiritual tool for your own personal growth. It is literally the ultimate blueprint for human excellence. So are you going to be someone who just claims to admire him? Or will you take that step to truly know the example you want to follow? Go download a few pages, set up a quiet spot, and discover this incredible journey for yourself. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope it sparked a deep curiosity for you to keep learning.